Mhm. Mhm. Well, here we are live streaming. Okay, I'm trying to get it up on my, hi everyone, and welcome to Life Cafe. My name is Suzanne O'Brien. So great that you are here joining us. Let's move over and see that we can see that love sign. Okay, so we're going to have people joining us in Life Cafe momentarily. And I am just wanting to make sure that we are up and going. It says we all are great on YouTube. So welcome, YouTubers. We're going to be doing this on a regular basis. We're going to be making this accessible to everyone. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so we're going to be making it accessible to everybody for these life cafes that are just beautiful community gatherings. There it is. Okay, great. Super exciting. I wonder if I should start bringing people in a little early. Yes. Well, welcome if you are new here. And if you have questions, if you want to ask the question, write it in the chat on the YouTube, and then I'll go back and I'll answer it after. Show my beautiful friend, Tiffany. I will move that over so you can see that love sign. I will go back in and answer any of your questions after we do our Life Cafe. So you can follow along, you can join, and then you can ask all the questions you want. I think I'm actually going to start bringing people in, and I'm going to start recording it. So welcome. Okay, let's go ahead. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Life Cafe and happy Wednesday to you. All right. We are live streaming, everybody. So I just wanted to say hello. And so we're going to start doing bigger group sharing because we know what a wonderful community this is. So we are going to start live streaming and we're doing a little bit of a tester today on YouTube. So we're going to start inviting people to step into the space with us. Stacy, I'm going to make you co-host, my dear, as soon as I can find you. Jump in. I found you. I just have to, there you go. Jumping all around the board. Well, hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. I have to tell you that it is one of the most beautiful days in North Carolina. I hope that you're having, it's just when you go outside, the way that the sun is hitting your skin and the birds and just like the air, it's perfect. It's one of those perfect spring days. And I'll tell you, just to bask in the moments of, you know, where we're at, and just don't let it pass you by. You know, our lives are so busy and there's usually a task list to do, and you don't want your ego to hijack your day. You know, you want to take those moments and really start ground, fill yourself up, prioritize, set your intention. And it only takes a few minutes to do that. So I kind of think of the car, and instead of putting your gears, you know, in that fast kind of like, let's go, put it in neutral, and really just be in the present moment and see what you get. So welcome, everyone. This is Life Cafe. This is, again, meeting in presence, meeting in community, meeting in no judgment, and taking in this, you know, this moment in time to be with each other like we practice, to slow down, to listen, not to fix, not to fix, to listen, to really be present with one another, just like we practice in our Doulagivers. But to practice it, it starts with you and me, right? So it starts with us as people. And then, of course, we can bring that into our beautiful practice. But if we don't do it ourselves, then there's a disconnect. So we have to remind ourselves. And again, this is really a new way of thinking. You know, we're humans doing most of the time, not humans being. And you'll hear me remind you all of the time that you're a human being. And yet we've lost that connection with the being part of ourselves, which is the stillness, which is the connecting to all things, which is the not thinking. And it's the heart-centered chakra. And you know, it's so beautiful. So bringing that awareness back, this is our group. Whoever would like to start us off, please do. There's so much good stuff happening in your groups and questions and just all the excitement. So I just, you know, this is your time to share, to ask any questions and just meet in this moment of presence. So whoever would like to start us off, please go ahead. You can raise your hand or you can take yourself off of mute and you can go ahead and do that. I can see some people are driving. I can see some people are exercising, and that is so super cool. So safety first, everybody. Just remember to not lose, right? Yes, thank you, thumbs up. Always safety first, but I love that, you know, that you're joining us from whatever you're doing. So if you would like to share anything or ask any questions, if not, I'll do a little piece of teaching if you want, but this is really your group. So I really like to hear from you. And yeah, so don't be shy. If anyone has, if they want to share, you can put your hands up, you can do the reactions, or you can just take yourself off mute. Melissa, you're going to share and you're on the bike?
Yeah, I'm going to stop because, you know, you got to have somebody fill the empty space and get us started, right? So here we go.
Okay.
So here's what I'd like to share. We had in the practitioners group this week a request from someone in California to find someone to assist somebody with a, I think it was a pancreatic diagnosis in Virginia. And what I would like to share with everyone is to say, for those who may be new to this, like I'm relatively new to it still, and who don't have a lot of experience, please don't hesitate when the opportunity presents itself and the universe says, this is your time, you're in position to help, you can assist. Don't be afraid or feel insecure or feel like you're, you know, maybe it's been a while since your class. Jump in and see what you can do to get started. You will be amazed at how quickly it will all just flow out of you because we have been taught so well. And to remember that we're all here to help and support you. And so it's you know, that's all. I just wanted to encourage people to do that. In this moment, we had someone who was unsure about being able to help, and I tried to be persuasive, and I just talked to the people, and she jumped in, and I think is really happy that she did, and is now really being a help to this family. And I'm so excited that we were able to connect them. Yes. And so that's all I wanted to say is I know that when that phone rings for me, I'm also going to be feeling insecure and feeling nervous and anxious. People think that because I'm so outspoken and extroverted and all of that, that I'm great at everything. But really, I have my own moments when I doubt myself, and I think we all do. And so anyway, that's all I wanted to say was bravo to that person who, I don't know if she's on the call today, but I'm so proud of her. And I just wanted to share that with all of you. And just, if anyone's on the fence or nervous or anxious, don't let that keep you from helping people by doing what you came here to do.
That's right. Whoa, Melissa. I love when Melissa says, you know, that's all I wanted to share. Like, she has these huge, wonderful insights that she drops in here, and it's so good. So first of all, of course, I want to know I'll find out who that is in the back. That is so major. That is so wonderful. And you guys, this is the everything about life. You are a human being. You are in this experience to have these challenges, to grow, to evolve, to find your true self. which comes with exactly what she was saying. You are having two directionals and they are at opposition. We're going to integrate them. They're always at opposition, usually, in this whole journey. You have the ego mind, the mind that's going to keep you fearful, keep you small, keep you from getting your alignment. Because when you do, you birth your true self, and the ego is not, we're going to invite it along. It's not a part of you. The soul self, you're knowing your calling, why you came here, is exactly what Melissa just said. This is why you showed up, because you're called. And when you're up, when the universe presents an opportunity for you, don't let the ego block that. Don't block that. If you just show up with the intention to be of the highest service that you can and trust in that. And I understand that this is the space that we can't see, that we can't control, that we don't know. And that's where all the magic happens. So when you trust in that, you birth yourself to a higher level of connectedness and understanding and wisdom. It's that trust. I tell the story all the time when I went to hospice. It didn't make any sense and I trusted it. And that's what this magic is. So you have got to, and I understand it takes courage. We're all here to support you, but also think of this. What about that person that's asking for that help, that does have a time stamp on their life? They have end of life. And your ego saying, well, you're not ready. You don't have enough experience. What if you get it wrong or whatnot? You got to get out of that. And you got to go into your heart and say, that person, let me just show up to be of whatever service I can be. Now I'm going to tell you, we don't know it all. I don't know it all. We're never going to know it all. That's just the fact of life. So it's trusting in that and taking that courage and stepping out of the analytical mind, getting beyond the analytical mind to be of that place of service and connection that is absolutely everything in this journey. When I was a young, not even young, well, this was a young one, but when I was a hospice nurse, I didn't have any end of life education. And they were sending me into homes with dying patients that I was responsible for. You beautiful Doulagivers get to be the adjunct support to the mainstream medical. It's one of the best places you could possibly be in, because you're not making any direct decisions. You're being an asset for them, the eyes and ears for them. But I was that hospice nurse without that training, and I was petrified. And I remember there was this one time that this nurse begged me to do on-call. So now I was going to do on-call for everyone in the county because she wanted to do something. And I had very little experience and I was petrified. And she begged me, she said, just for 6 hours, we'll get it covered. And I was like, okay, I'll do it, because they had no one else. And I remember watching that beeper, counting down the hours. I didn't get called. The last 20 minutes of the shift, the beeper rings and the service says, Mrs. Miller died. And here's her information. And I had never pronounced anyone as a nurse before. I was petrified, but I also had to say, there's a reason that I'm called to be in this space, and I have to trust in that. And when you trust in that, I'll tell you something, the universe, God, source, whatever your belief system is, will never give you anything that you can't handle. And it's that trusting space where you show up anyway, even though you're scared, that all the magic and growth happens. So this is your moment. And not only that, we have got to show up for one another. So Melissa, when you say that's all I want to share and whatever, it's everything. And so I thank you so very much for that. I look forward to talking with this person who did this and finding out more about that, because I am so excited and proud of her or him. We have a couple of hymns. Okay. Kimberly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, afternoon, probably. My question for you is clarity on when you say, like, say the person dies and it's only me and the family, but the hospice isn't there or the doctor isn't there. Does that happen a lot? And then, no, it doesn't?
Well, it doesn't happen for you necessarily. It happens for the family a lot, that person will die without a nurse there. Yeah, for sure. So what is exactly your question? What does that look like? What is the protocol?
Well, I guess protocol, because in the last conversation that I heard, it was, you can run into a lot of trouble. And I didn't kind of understand that, whether it was the paperwork or legally or anything like that. And it kind of got me nervous.
Okay, so let's clarify for people though. So when there's running into trouble, if it's not somebody that's on hospice. So
Oh,
I'm not sure where exactly you're exactly putting that phrase, run into trouble. So what I'm going to share with you is that the best thing we could do throughout this whole entire end of life process is to be ahead of what we can expect and plan, including the time of death, including who needs to be there, including what are we actually going to do? What's the protocol? Running that by the hospice nurse, running that by the family. Do they want, because that is such, again, a very important sweet spot for slowing down grief and bereavement, taking this all in, not rushing that process, not letting that funeral company come in 15 minutes and sweep that person away, and it's never going to be the same. So where there is, to me, we had discussions, and again, I'm not sure exactly what you're pinpointing. People said, well, what if the person's not on hospice and dies? That is a problem.
okay.
That does go into a whole nother road of, it has to be reported, the police come out, and those kind of things. It's really not, it's not something we want to do. I don't really know what the reason would be that, some people resist hospice, but even bringing them in at the end, but that's one thing. The other thing that we need to talk about, and again, I'm just trying to clear anything around the space, is that when that person dies, the hospice nurse or a medical practitioner needs to pronounce them. I'm just trying to find where the noise is coming from the background in case we can mute somebody. And so that the time of death needs to be recorded by a medical practitioner. But again, if you've planned this out with the hospice team and then the family, you could alert the hospice that you think this loved one dies. The hospice nurse can even come out, pronounce that person, and then you had already talked about keeping that loved one at home for a good 8 hours or so, telling stories, doing some ritual, whatever that means. Funeral homes and funeral directors, depending on what state you're in, there's specific laws that abide to that state on what you can do as far as charging for bathing. Like the doula never does death care and charges for it because we just stay out of that, but we encourage family to do their own and to get a home funeral guide and that kind of thing. But depending on what state you're in, you need a funeral director to do transportation of the body, do the permit. So there's a lot there that we want to make sure is crystal clear in the legality of that. That's all in your level 3 of your program. So that's going to be coming, but I just wanted to sort of get this cleared up if we could. Very important to understand that people should be on hospice and utilizing hospice. I understand there's a resistance at times, but there's such a benefit, and especially at this time of death where it doesn't have to go into a whole nother unfortunate place that it goes into if they're not. Does that help you?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Where are you located?
Where are we?
Where are you?
Santa Fe.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Yeah. All right. Lovely. Well, good. Great questions. Who else would like to share what's happening? Hello on the board. Good to see you guys from all over. Like I said, Death Cafe, we're going to start to see that we can stream it so people can join in wherever they are, from the comfort of their home, again, in different modalities, Facebook or YouTube or whatnot, because this is something, again, a community that we're building of what we talk about all the time, of non-judgment and togetherness and presence, and just not fixing, but really, sharing and hearing and seeing one another. And of course, if we can answer any questions or do education, that's beautiful as well. But it's really just meeting each other with no judgment where we are, with, unconditional love for each other, because that's the goal. All right. Who else has a question or story? Don't be shy. You can share whatever you want. Okay. Marissa.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. I am in Connecticut, and I'm so happy to be here in this
Great.
group. And Melissa is amazing, I do have to say.
I know, right?
It really is. A couple weeks ago,
Yes.
it was mentioned that she had done the podcast with Marilyn, I believe.
Yes.
And so I tuned into it, and it was wonderful. She is just truly an inspiration.
She is.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you
You
for
are too.
confirming that.
You are too.
Hmm.
I am definitely meant to be here, finally listening to my heart center.
Yep.
I had come across this a couple of years ago and during COVID, but then ended up taking a job that I just had to take because I needed the money. And so
Mhm.
not listening to my intuition, my heart. Anyway, it ended up that I became unemployed again. And it's unexpectedly. And even though it was not where I needed to be, was where I was supposed to be, it was the best thing in the world for me.
Mhm.
And right after that, the following week, I looked you up again because I knew that. And so here I am because this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I want to work so that I do have a paycheck coming in.
Mhm.
And but I'm being very particular because I have to feed my soul too at the
Mhm.
same time, which
Mhm.
this will do. So there was a position that I just saw yesterday in the neighboring town next to me for Athena Home Health and Hospice for an administrative assistant. And so I submitted my application. And if it is meant to be that I'm there during this time, then I would love if you could all send me some love and light and vibes that this will be, my another place where I will be learning along the way,
Mhm.
in addition to this training that I absolutely love, 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 love so much.
Thank you. I love all of that. Marissa, what kind of background do you have in work?
Well, I have a lot of office work, pretty
Mhm.
much, but safety. I was working for an environmental health and safety company.
Mhm.
I've worked in a medical office. I've worked for an international commercial collection agency and traveled the world.
Okay.
But my passion was when I learned therapeutic touch.
Yep.
I instantly fell in love. It was the most spiritual experience I ever had,
Beautiful.
feeling the energy.
Mhm.
And, so energy is my passion.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
everything's energy, my love, right?
I
Mhm.
know, and it's just such a beautiful thing. And I just love everything that you say, and the meditation that you do at the end of this. I mean, it's all about, that's who I am. And it was just like,
Mm.
this is where I'm supposed to be.
So good.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel with you and like the work that you're doing, how do you feel about doing a lot of the planning ahead education and helping clients to, make those living well aging plans, not just advanced directives, knowing choices. Again, there's a whole thing that's not being addressed.
Right.
And it's a beautiful space. And again, it's a space that allows us to have positive end of lives, allowing you to have a full, work and then use your talents that you've had before as well. I feel like this hospice job, I just want to say that if and when you do get it, it'll be for the experience of seeing what that dynamic is like,
Right.
but not necessarily your forever home.
No, absolutely not. It's just to gain some experience of learning about it.
For sure.
But
sure.
definitely, I mean, this Doulagivers is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
So, but I did, sign up for the additional courses.
Perfect.
Yeah. And, and I've done this stuff before for friends and family, just on my own years ago.
Yep.
Because I know how important it is. And, so people would always come to me for that.
Yeah. We have one of our doulas who graduated, who does a whole aging planning business. It's all specifically for that. And she is so beautifully successful in helping families and patients. I just really see something similar with you in a bigger spectrum. And I love that you're doing the specialist program. So you have all that, because it's there. Like
and and again, I've done it before just on my own, not even, just because so many people don't do these things. And, it's like,
I love it so much.
How uneducated people are, and again, how fearful people are. And
it's really that fear and denial that actually, I have to say, is creating these really horrible end of lives, because we're not prepared at all. We don't have, and you can't be when it shows up. So I love the fact that you've already been ahead of the curve doing it. And just a little bit of a guidance is, I'd even go back when you're ready to those family and friends and get them to write a little testimonial about you actually helping them to do it, because it just really helps people to hear from people you've already worked with. It's amazing. And we'll teach you all that in the third level. I'm super excited for you.
And I want to also say, yesterday during our 3 o'clock course, I felt really bad for the people who, there was the woman who was asking what to do when the family members are jealous or angry that their loved one wants to be with their, engage with their deceased loved ones more than them. I mean, it's such an incredibly beautiful thing to witness somebody having that interaction with their loved ones. And it's like, I was thinking how selfish, but people don't understand. People don't have that.
So I really I want to share this with the group, because not everyone was on that call at all yesterday. And I want to share with them, because this is a very important teaching moment, I think.
Right.
And also, I always try and come back to, okay, not judging, but observing, and trying to come from that space. Although sometimes it gets a little hard, the waters get a little muddied.
You're really, really good. I am amazed by you so often in conversations when I'm thinking, how is she going to and you address everything so beautifully and so professionally and so deeply. And it's just, I just am so happy to be here with you.
Well, thank you so much. I really just try and do my best, but I also want you all to know that I've done a lot of my own work and understanding what this life's journey is about, and knowing that we have the ego mind that's going to be reactive and going to get triggered and going to be based on judgment and separation, or I can go into my heart mind, connect with that, and say, what's happening here? And that's always going to allow us to have a different response, not reacting, and also from a loving place. And so again, I'm teaching this to you because I want you to understand the path of this lifetime. And that's the goal of it. And it's a practice. It's not easy because we're so conditioned for so many years with the ego part of us that your body actually is operating in ego mind, that you have to undo it. And that's hard. That's where that unknown is. But it's so yummy when you do. So I want to just share what happened yesterday. So we were on our beautiful semester module released, and I answer questions and we do a whole nice thing. And this question came in and the person said, how do you deal with an angry adult child who's mad at their dying parents? Now, hold on, because the dying parent is paying more attention to deceased loved ones that have come back and that are in the room than the living adult children that are in the room with them. So, as I feel like you all could probably step into this loving space with compassion and understanding, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of inner child that did not get what they want. There's a lot of probably fear related to this last time. And my gosh, my mom is paying attention to her mother who's dead already and just came in the room. My gosh, you guys, let's look at this a different way. And this is what I said, is that try and think about what it must be like to be at the end of life and see your mom for the first time, but not only see the mom, the energy that they say that comes in with that, this amazing light and unconditional love and sense of peace and sense of everything makes sense. If you're on your journey of end of life, questioning and maybe dealing with regrets and all the things that are part of that, and all of a sudden you have that experience where a loved one comes back with bringing in that energy of that high frequency, that love. Wow. Would you not be just engulfed in that in so many ways? And also this, for the people that are here, to see your mom at such peace, at such excitement, whether you believe it or not, whether you see anything or not, for you to see her at such peace at her end of life, you will hold that in your heart forever. So for me, there's lots of unresolved trauma and issues and things of that nature. So again, trying to not judge anyone for having that kind of reaction and understanding. So what I did suggest is that to look at it from that perspective of, wow, your mom is able to, have such peace in her heart at this moment. And when her mother is not there, because they come and go, to ask for some quality one-on-one time with your mom so that you can really get there. Now, there's a lot that's there in this scenario that I feel as far as unresolved issues, love that wasn't, this is part of the human journey. So this would be the time for us to really encourage the honest conversations, because if that son is looking for that mother to apologize because maybe she just, she was doing the best she could, because we always are, even if we come up short, looking for that mom to acknowledge or to apologize or whatever it is, that's that moment that it's going to happen. So we want to encourage that alone time. But again, so I picture this man as this little boy, because that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that hurt inner child that's stuck at 7, that's stuck at 5 or whatnot. And so you want to be able to understand where that energy is locked in and coming from. And then of course, so I've never heard this from any other, and I've worked with a lot of people. Most people are in awe of this experience and that their parent is having this. But again, this is every death is unique. And everyone attached to it is having their own relationship, and we don't want to judge and we want to show up. So there's a lot of work that this adult child needs to do, and we want to help to facilitate that in any way, shape, or form. One of the easiest things we can do, not only with helping our families, but with ourselves, is simply changing our perspective of something. We say it here all the time, literally looking at a situation through a different lens can change the whole attachment to the emotion that's tied to it. So instantly you can free yourself, you can get lighter, you can change that. How powerful is that? And that's that perspective of the heart mind, not the analytical mind, of the heart mind. So if you always want to really understand a very fast way to change things, is to say, okay, let me take a minute, let me do some deep breaths, let me go into my heart, let me look at that situation again. I bet you anything you'll look at it differently. Marissa, thank you so much. I am so excited about all that's going on for you. Keep us posted on everything.
I will.
But yeah, really good stuff. Thank you.
I'm excited.
All right. Who else would like to share? Anyone have any quick self-care tips that you want to share? Because we are big on the self-care, because if we're not doing it and we're not slowing down and we're not feeding our soul, we can't be the best practitioner that we want to be. So I think this is very important, because again, it's not intuitively taught at all. In fact, kind of the opposite, that we've been under the impression that doing things for ourselves is selfish. It's absolutely not. In fact, if you take a circle and you divide it in 4 quadrants, the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual part of you, and you look at that circle every single day, you want to say, where am I feeding? Where am I putting my energy into parts of that? Because a lot of us are just, working all the time and we neglect it. So you've really got to understand that you have 4 different parts of you and they all need to be nurtured. It's always not going to be equal, but as long as you're aware of it and making sure that you're doing some of those things, that's extremely important. You'll see a huge difference in yourself. All right. Who else like to share anything? What is anyone doing for self-care today? Yeah, we'll even make it today. Does anyone have any plans? I've got my tennis racket out. This is so funny. I hold on to pictures and some certain things that I love, but I'm not a big collector of things, which is good. And I still have too much, but that's okay. My tennis racket, I have my tennis racket from when I was like 24. And I want to tell you the reason that I have it. First of all, I do love tennis, but I have very small hands for my body type. And so this grip on this racket is really, and it's not a child's one, but it's perfect for my hand. So I'm going to go get it restrung and I'm going to get myself out on the court. I don't know what that's going to look like, guys. I'm just telling you, but it brings me a lot of joy. So I also just want to empower you. What brings you joy and what are you going to be doing? But it is pretty funny because when I see that racket, it just brings back a lot of memories, and also it's a pretty good racket. And sometimes I can play all right. So that's what I'm going to be doing later today. So again, just it's those little moments that you really want to treat yourself. Monica, your hand is up. Do you want to go and share? There you go.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for being here for us.
Yes, you're welcome. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you.
Good.
So I am new to the doula thing. I've had the calling for about 4 or 5 years, but haven't had the opportunity. I'm taking courses now. Today, what I'm doing is the beautiful weather has just arrived. It's 23 degrees at Celsius. We're in Canada, Ontario. I am going to do some paddleboarding, and that is my day. That's
Nice.
getting away for me and so needed. And the water is my savior.
Ah, I love it. That sounds fantastic. One of the things I think is helpful for us, if you think about what you used to love as a child, believe it or not, you know, if you love the water, if you like tennis, if you, whatever was like your joy, bring that back into your life, bring pieces of that back into the fold, because we really sometimes lose touch with, you know, the wonder of being a child. And it's so interesting studying all of the human evolution and like what this is, because you all know that we talk a lot in the courses about mindset, and we talk a lot about the making steps forward, and then some people get stalled again and kind of get back into not a rut, but into a routine that they used to be in that might not be exactly producing the results that they want. And so when we study, because I've been studying the whole neuroscience to our emotions and to our memories and to our habits and all of that, and the unconsciousness of the way that we actually usually go through our day. So they've talked about, if you're not aware of it, 95% of what you actually do in your day is repetition, is in an unconscious kind of habitual place. Well, how frightening is that? Because if I want to make change and yet I keep doing the same thing, it's not going to allow me to break open. And so becoming this aware, like you all are with this calling, and then becoming aware of making new pathways to move forward. And like we said, that sweet spot in that place is what you can't see, is what you can't figure out analytically. Now, I want you to know how important this is, because when I made the decision to go to hospice, which, by the way, that one decision you make in life, the one decision that you make in life can change the trajectory of your whole entire journey. Kind of heavy, isn't it? However, when I was called to go to hospice, this feeling to go to hospice, I didn't know where it was coming from, but I knew when I thought about it, I had such a sense of peace, of connection, but I had no end of life experience. And if I had taken a piece of paper and wrote down on the paper the positives, the pros and cons of going to hospice, it would have been less money, no experience, more hours, less benefits. Nobody would ever have done it if I had done it analytically. And this is how we live our life, right? Let's look at it, let's weigh it out. But I said, you know what? I haven't quite figured it all out. I know there's something more to this journey, and I haven't. So let me just see what this is. Let me just trust this. And the very first day that I was out seeing hospice patients, I felt like a piece of puzzle that fit. It was the best feeling I've ever had. I said, that's what this is. That's what this is. It's your heart. It's that trusting. And that day I said, I'm never making another decision in life other than what do I feel? Not what do I think? What do I feel? And I never thought it would lead to the work that we're doing in all of this, but I keep saying yes to the path, to just be of service, to just show up. And when you do that, the universe will bring in, says, okay, you're saying yes to your heart and to being of service. Okay, great. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. And it's so wonderful because the whole point is that you don't feel separate because you're not, that you connect to that higher frequency of energy that we're all connected to, like our end of life patients talk about. You're able to connect to that now if you follow your heart, if you trust, and if again, you show up to be of service. Pretty magnificent. So many people, when I was younger, as that oncology nurse would say at times, getting cancer was the best thing that happened to me. And I remember thinking, how could they say that? What are they talking about? And now I understand it because it made them stop. They weren't able to live in that habitual way anymore. Maybe they had to stop their job. Maybe their identification of themselves completely changed and they found themselves because they were forced to, because they had to find a different way. Now, of course, that doesn't happen for everyone. We hope that it does, but this is what I want to share with you. Don't wait for tragedy. Don't wait for an illness. Don't wait for the end of life to have that breakthrough of consciousness. If you want it, it's available right here today. It's available right here today with the awareness, with the understanding, and also with some tools on how to do that. Connecting to the present moment, not having an agenda, showing up to be of service, being kind, not judging. You say yes to the universe and the universe will show you how to create with. Pretty amazing. So glad you all are here. Brianna?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to make myself visible maybe if I can figure out how to do it quickly. And
yeah, I think you just have a little camera icon. If you click on that camera, it should have a red line through it. If you click on it, you should come on.
Okay, I clicked on it and I'm not sure.
All right, we got something coming. There you go. And you look pretty cool too.
Oh, wow. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Oh, glowy.
I know we're talking about the universe and the universe like, okay, let's show them a little something.
Maybe I'll aim it away from the window. So I've been on the fringes of this conversation. My mom passed in 2016 and I was fortunate enough to be the main person in the family that could be there pretty much full time. And so I actually just did a lot of Googling day to day, like signs of dying, how to communicate, what questions to ask. So she was in and out of consciousness and it was just so beautiful because I got to talk to her about her dream state and know that when she was like doing the little pinching or clutching that she was, reaching for the spirit. She saw just all this stuff. So hospice was amazing. And I immediately after she died, said, I think I might be called to this. And they're like, well, you need to wait a year and just see. And sure enough, after a year, I was like, oh, maybe not. Well, then this idea of death doula came up a couple of years later and I started getting like the itch again. So I've been following you and some other YouTube type things just to stay in the conversation. And one thing I decided to do after talking with some people, they said, well, why don't you just volunteer for hospice? You can get a feel. So this is really something you want to do before you dive in 100. So one of the volunteer positions that I found is with Legacy Creations in hospice.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm actually a photographer and a videographer, so it's kind of perfect.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. So I just thought I would speak it out loud in this group to see. I'm in Southern California. I'm in San Diego. Maybe anything that comes up for anybody, because you were just saying, if you're just present and you see that space of what, source has for you, it shows up. So decided to raise my hand and just.
I love that. Yes. Definitely. So again, just share with people where you're located and let them know maybe in the chat how they can contact you, because can you do some things virtually as well? Or somehow? I know that might be a little.
No, certainly. So I'll just check.
Legacy, this is, so when we bring back the awareness of end of life, we bring back all of the sacredness about it. And a huge part of this is our legacy and life reviews and leaving all that. So I love that very much. How beautiful. Good for you. Really, really good. Thank you so much for sharing that. So she's typing that in. Yeah. Okay, great. And then you've already have some people who are in your area or close by and they're already starting to connect. So that's exactly what you want to do. Thank you, Brianna.
Thank you so much. I really
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I love your energy, and I love that you offer this every week. And thank you.
Thank you. Love to you too. I love that. A couple of things that came in the chat box that are really good. Deb says, feel the fear and do it anyway. Here's what I want to say to you all. When you have that moment of fear, little butterflies in your stomach, you are on the edge of greatness. You are on the edge of greatness. And here's the other thing is that, and this is again, the tool that I always will talk about using, especially if you're doing a talk and you get nervous or whatever, you're making that phone call, or take yourself out of it. Okay. Because that's ego. Think of that little old lady and that elder man alone that we're advocating for, that we need to make change for. I mean, that's just one example. You have been asked to step forth because you have a gift in this space for education. If you have that moment where that ego is telling you, oh, you can't do it, you don't have enough experience, whatever it will say, you have to quiet that ego. It's okay. You don't need to be afraid. I need to speak for Mrs. Miller, who's alone in that house with her dying husband. I know that this is supposed to be happening. And also, what is the worst thing that can happen, everybody? What's the worst thing that can happen? You don't know something? I don't know everything. And I'm going to go find out then. Hey, what do I do? I've never seen this before. Let me go see if I can find the answer for you. Death is also not a medical emergency. So when the trauma, that's one thing, but death is not an emergency. So we've got to start showing up, and we've got to be more courageous than our fear. Don't let the ego, there's techniques that we're going to teach you to just quiet that beautiful little ego mind and make sure that heart expands. So this is just, so I love that. So if you feel some fear, say to yourself, oh, this is so good. I'm on the edge of greatness, because you really are. So that's really important. I also want to share something that happened this week or last week. I think it was this week. Time is just an interesting thing. So I've been posting a couple of 1 minute tutorial information to kind of plant seeds and to, we want to do that. The one thing that I have found on our monthly webinars with Doulagivers that has been so incredibly healing for people is, well, all of it, but one thing that hearing that people sometimes will wait for you to leave the room or leave the bedside for their actually to have their end of life. So I did a 1 minute video on this about why people will wait for you to leave the room, and talked about how this happens a lot. What I'm told, that it's a gift to you, that they don't want that to be the last thing you remember. But then the bigger meaning here, how do they know that you stepped out of the room for the 5 minutes? It opens us up to something, again, so much bigger and beautiful. Well, this video went viral. So there have been so many comments on that from people talking about this same thing. And this one woman who's a nurse said that she was caring for a child, this little girl, one day. And this little girl said to her, tell my parents they need to leave. She said, I have to go, and I have to go now, so they have to leave. And it's just so incredible how often this happens. Now, here's what I want to share with you is that people who've had this experience who don't know this, the absolute guilt, because we don't know a lot about end of life. And so when it shows up and then I went to get something to eat or take a shower and my mom died and I wasn't there for her and I can't go back, have held on to this. And I'm talking about people for 30 years, 40 years. This is so important, again, not just from the clarity of what the truth is, that happens a lot, but what about this much bigger meaning that shares? If this person is in a sleep coma and hasn't been talking or has their eyes open for days, sometimes weeks, depending if they're in the hospital, how do they know the 5 minutes that you stepped away from the bed? Happens all the time. So we really do want to share this, but I cannot believe how many people were like, thank you for that. I can't believe that. This is how it happened for this. And then this little girl saying, get my parents out. I've got to go and I can't go and they're here. Wow. So every time you talk about something or plant a seed or meet somebody and just have a conversation, it doesn't always have to lead to you working with their family or doing an advanced directive. You've done it. You've created a space of planting seeds and healing and awareness and togetherness in this. It's so beautiful. So thank you. Okay, we have Heather and then we have Gillian. Hi, Heather.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, how are you?
Good. Forgive me if I don't put my photo on. I'm currently driving, but you're hooked up to my system, so
Okay.
I'm not distracted.
Good.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to, I believe it was Brianna, the photographer who spoke earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a hair and makeup artist in the fashion industry for many years, but I've done some photography, and I recently started thinking about a service that could be available for the loved ones, and it would be pre-memento mori photographs. So memento mori photographs are the death photographs that they did in the Victorian era of the loved one's body once it passed. So they would prop that up in different sets and things like that for the family. But I think it would be really beautiful to do some photographs just pre of that moment where the loved one is maybe still alive, but near the end of death. And I wanted to see what your opinion on that kind of service would be.
I love it. So so thank you so much for that. This is what I want to share with you as well. There have been so many experiences I've personally had, and then that families have shared with me, is that when that person actually died, they looked the most beautiful that they've looked. So this is so important, again, to talk about it, but to also, if you could capture that. I love photography. I love Annie Leibovitz. I love photography. It's like there's so much energy, and also you just capture that moment. I think to bring back all of these support areas within this space and make them as beautiful and natural as possible. But I also, and I love that before, when you were talking about propping people up and having them, I had all these images, and that's interesting. But I also want people to know is that person after they die can be one of the most beautiful spaces as well, and that we shouldn't be afraid of that at all. And that's why I say don't rush that process. It's very important to not rush the after death time period for just feeling the love of that person still, but still seeing them there. And so if there's a way to actually offer that and capture that on film as well, how fantastic is that? So I feel like I'm on American Idol. I am a yes, yes. For that, because I think, again, you all come in with unique gifts that you bring to this space, and create that unique gift in an offering that is your gift to give. And it sounds, so I think you all should get together, Brianna and Heather, and talk about this, and I'll fly out to California and we'll do a gallery view. Let's just, anything we can do to bring back, again, the love and the naturalness of this, we're going to do. So yeah, it's a yes for me.
Awesome. And I used to have an agent based in LA. So they have just an immense amount of resources that could be beneficial to this. And I can come in approaching saying, hey guys, remember me? This is what I'm doing now. Can we get the industry to, especially in the fashion and beauty and entertainment industry, let's harness that ego-driven industry and transmute it into a more heart-centered space. Let's, like you say,
I love that.
Online, let's get them online.
I love that, Heather, because if we, every walk of life, and again, there's no judgment here, but if we can tap into every walk of life and go into the heart connected part, which we all have, by the way. And then, I see, because we have some great galleries here in Charlotte and stuff. I picture having these things that can actually be a traveling show being viewed, which is really wonderful. Heather, did you join us in 2020, or when did you become part of this?
Well, in 2019, I found your podcast. And so I have been dealing with many health issues and going back to school. So I'm back in school to become a licensed clinical social worker and art therapist. So that's been where my energy is. But I just took a Doula 101 training with a practitioner in Pueblo, Colorado, and I'm saving my money so that I can take one of your live semesters. So it hasn't happened yet, but it will soon.
That's perfect. I remember there was a woman who said, and she was in the fashion industry, and she said she lost everything in 2020 and she found everything with the Doulagivers training. And I thought that might have been you, but and it is so beautiful, because no matter who you are, no matter what you've done or haven't done, or titles or anything, we all are connected to this thing of humanity, and it's time to bring that awareness back. So I love it. Heather, Brianna, I think you've got some really good stuff there. Please keep me in the loop. I'd love to be.
Absolutely.
Okay, love it. Thank
Heather,
you.
I know you're driving, Heather, so my information's in the chat. I don't know if you'll be able to access that later, but I don't know how else to get a hold of you. So
I added mine in there for you, and I also I screenshotted. I'm multitasking. Perfect. And I should not be. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's connect. Yeah.
So Brianna, thank you, my dear. So Brianna, she is under Zoom user with the heart.
That's Heather.
Yeah.
I thought that was Tracy for some reason.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'm all right. If you have questions, what I'll put out there is that if for some reason y'all don't connect, email us both at support@doulagivers.com and we will connect you. How beautiful. All right, Gillian, let's hear from you.
Okay, I just wanted to share something. And let me just back up and just say, when I was like 4 or 5, I'd watch TV, Captain Kangaroo, and then I'd watch Vietnam. So my introduction to death was body bags. And I may cry. Ever since then, those guys are just my heart. And when you mentioned that there was going to be on Memorial Day a veterans module or something coming out, I was just like, that's them. But I'm not a veteran, but I just reviewed an audiobook, this veteran songwriter from Vietnam. And ever since then, I have just been getting emails on my personal website just from Vietnam veterans going, you got it. You got the experience. You know what we're going through. So I just wanted to share. I don't know where this is going, but I am so looking forward to May 30th because those guys are my heart. They're my heart. The nurses, everybody, they've just, on my website, I've done so many audiobooks on Vietnam veterans. But this, now that I'm putting myself out there in the universe, this is the biggest amount of email I've ever gotten.
That is so confirming and so beautiful. And I am so happy to hear this. So what we're doing is putting the Veterans Edition to our level 1 end of life doula training. Veterans have been the most challenging end of lives that I have ever been of service to because of the trauma, because of what they've been through. And we've now brought in an expert in veterans and end of life to put some specific interventions for each one of the phases in addition to our end of life doula. We also have a vision to be able to not only educate family caregivers and people that work with veterans, but to actually have veterans who would like to be doulas for other veterans, still be of service, be at that bedside. There's nothing like a veteran that understands another veteran. So, wow, like my heart is beaming from what you just shared and how, again, and I want people to hear this, when you say yes to the universe goes, okay, here you go, here you go, here you go. Gosh, guys, It's like you plug into that, you have the control to plug into wherever you want to plug into. And if you plug into, yes, I want to be of service, all of a sudden, choom, and the love and the connection, and wow. And you're right. Our veterans are so important to us. And we have got to do so much more, not only for their end of life, but just to raise awareness across the board for their service and what they're going through now and all of that. So I'm so excited to work with you. And there are some specific doulas that we have that are in that space for veterans. And boy, is this going to be great. So we'll let you know as soon as.
I would love for the universe to keep talking to me.
All you have to do is say yes, universe, and they'll say, okay, we got it. You're on. Thank you so much for that. So we'll be in touch with that. And thank you. I want to look at your website, Bobby, and then we'll do our prayer.
Yeah, just real quick. I just wanted to say, Gillian, but there's a lot of hospices that have a specific veterans program that started because the NHPCO developed a certification program for hospices to be veteran oriented. So connect with your hospices in your area, see if anyone is there that you can also help out with the veterans program. But I'm sure if you go on the NHPCO website, you can find all the hospices that are doing that, because our hospice is one of the first ones that got certified as a veteran hospice. And you really have to go through some really rigorous training and certification before you can do it. And we did have veterans come in and sit by the bedside with all veterans. It worked so well. So it's excellent. I really encourage you, because I think that you hit right on the nail. I think your skill and benefit everybody will be. So thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. And I'm so happy to hear that about your hospice. So no one can understand what a veteran has been through other than another veteran, period. And so again, isn't this so beautiful if we can offer training and support in whatever capacity to allow this space to now be filled with that support and that love and that service that they still want to give. All right, everyone. I got to tell you, you all are phenomenal. I mean, this is like the best part of my week and my day. There's so much goodness and light and love, and the world needs it so very much. So I want to thank you all for being here. At this time, we bring in a beautiful meditation prayer, and we bring in that unconditional loving light to ourselves and then send it out to the world. If you feel called, you can close your eyes. You're going to breathe through your nose like you're smelling a beautiful flower, and then out through your mouth. This is also going to settle your nervous system and get you in contact with the parasympathetic, which is your rest and your regenerating and your higher flow. I want you to think in terms of, if we're constantly in stress and fight or flight, you can't create from that space. And when we work with the universe in this place of service and love, that's creation. So if we're constantly going out, you have to remember to slow down and to go into neutral. So here you're going to do 3 deep breaths, and then we're going to bring in that light and send it out to the world. You're going to breathe in, hold, and let it go. Here we go. Breathe in and hold and let it go. And when you let go of your breath, let go, set the intention to let go of anything and everything that does not serve your highest consciousness. All that chatter. Breathe in and hold and let it go. You should already feel like a settling of your nervous system, which is a switch in your energetic state of being. Breathe in and hold and let it go. And now you imagine that you are outside in the clouds. Your eyes are closed, but the clouds part and the sun is so bright right above your head. Your eyes are closed, but you see orange, you see yellow, and now that sun is coming right above the top of your head. And now it's opening up the top of your head, and it's pouring into your beautiful, loving body, this golden, loving light. You feel so at peace, so much connection, such joy. And it's literally bathing you in this unconditional loving light and energy that we are all in truth connected to. This is going down your spine, going through your chakras and going through your root chakra, now to the center of the earth, swirling around, knowing that we are all connected, planet, animals, people, everyone, everything. And now this light is coming back up your root chakra, going up your spine through your chakras and going through the top of your head to that high sun, you know, fully lined in this golden loving light. You feel peaceful, you feel the warmth, you feel joy, you feel connected. You feel like you know everything all at once, that everything makes sense. And now as this light comes down again, it's going to expand about 6 feet from your physical body, encompassing all of your aura. As it comes back down, it is bathing you in this golden light, again, going down your spine, going through your chakras to the root chakra, into the center of the earth. Now, as it's swirling around the center of the earth, it's picking up momentum. When it comes back up now, we are going to, with intention, send it out through our heart chakra. If you feel called, you can take your hands and put them over your heart. And with intention, as this light comes up, we are going to send it out through our heart to each and every one in this group and to the world at large. Here it comes. And here it comes through your hands and sending out to each and every one of you, swirling around each and every one of you. Just so joyful and dancing and sparkling. So happy that we are all connected in here. Showing up in service, showing up to be the change. Now we're going to expand this light out to your family and loved ones. This light is going to get larger and larger and larger. Now we're going to expand this light out to your community members where you live. Yes, everybody, even that woman on the corner with all of the cats who might not be always very nice. Knowing that everyone is on their journey, that everyone's responsible for their own actions. We never excuse people, but we do want to not judge them. We do want to meet people where they are with compassion and empathy and not judge each other. This is a challenging evolution for all of us. So we include everyone in this loving prayer. Now, please take the state that you live in or the province that you live in and picture it in your mind's eye and surround it in a golden bubble of light and love. Now, please take the country that you live in and surround it in a golden bubble of light. And just hold it there. Know that with every breath you take and every beat of your heart, you're sending out an energy wave. When you set the intention of love to be sent out with those beats of your heart and those breaths that you take, that will go where it needs to go to everyone and anyone in the world. Just set that intention. Now, please take the country of Ukraine in your mind's eye. Surround Ukraine in a golden pyramid of light and hold it there. Thank you. At this time, I want to invite you to add anyone or anything you'd specifically like this prayer and healing sent to. Now, please take the earth globe in your mind's eye and surround it in a golden pyramid of light, letting every being, every animal, every blade of grass, every part of nature, every element be sent this love, knowing in truth, we are all connected to one unconditional loving energy. And we always want to give thanks for being able to be a part of this journey at this time. And we always want to ask how we can show up to be of the highest service today and always. Just let us be shown, let us see, and let us know how we can show up to be of the highest service. That is the intention that we set. And I want to thank you all for showing up to be in this space at this time and being part of this group. Breathe in. When you are ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the room. Thank you all so very much. You are absolutely amazing. Love, love, love. If you need anything from us, just let us know. I thank you all for being here. I adore you, and I'll see you in the groups. Have a beautiful day, everybody.